Well, hello again, my friends. I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. Hiya, hiya, hiya. So, here comes the crazy part. So, mastery ranks have slowly climbed up over time to where we're at Legendary 4, which is basically mastery rank 34. Okay? But with that has come a abundance of stuff. Okay? To get to this point, because right now this is mastery capped. Excuse me, so 606,000 with Warframes, 537,000 with primary weapons, 415,000 with secondary, 645, so on and so forth. You can pause and read that. Okay, it's a lot. So, that being said, it's a lot of shit. But with that comes equipment. So, overall, there is now 747 items in the game, and that's if this is not bugged. Which, of course, it is. There's 746. Okay? So if you ever see on Facebook or on Reddit where it says 747, it is a bug. I will explain. There is no such thing as a moat prism. Okay? The amp is the moat amp. Okay? You cannot buy a moat prism and build it with different components. So this is a pure bug. It says it's used in the whole shebang. This wraps into this. Okay, that's 100%. All of the stats mix in with this. That's just what it is. So that's why there's no kills, no assists, but a ton of XP. And then I've got kills and assists here with accuracy and headshot kills and the whole shebang with XP here. It's a bug. Okay, so there's only 9 prisms. Okay, and even then, some of that crap got added on with Fortuna and all the other stuff because initially, all you could do, I mean, Saya's Vigil was one of the, early ones, which is where you got the mode to begin with, and you can only get the Ron, the Raplac, the Grand Moo, obviously the Moat, the Schwak, and the Sirocco comes with the Deviri Paradox. With Little Duck, you get the Cantic, you get the Clamora, you get the Lega, and that's that. Yeah. But overall, there's a lot of shit. Now, this seems daunting. 101 frames. You have to take into account this also includes the primes. So you have Ash Prime, so on and so forth. But there's a lot of frames in this game. There's 179 primaries. There's 141 secondaries. There is 213 melees. There is now 48 companions. That includes their weapons. Or I should say robotics, because yes, hounds are still robotics because they're robo-dogs. There are 15 fucking companions. That in itself is crazy because it used to just be Kubros and Kavats. So you had, what, 3 Kavats? You had the Smita, you had the Vaska, you had the Adarza, and then you had the Chessa, you had the Helmuth Charger, the Huras, the Raska, the Sahasa, and the Sonika. Well, with part of Deimos, and then the subsequent Orbalis, not Orbalis, Cambion Drift, sorry. Orbalis is Venus, derp. Now you can capture animals, 2 types of animals called Predicites and called Vulpaphilas, which Vulpaphilas are basically infested cats, and Predicites are infested dogs. So infested Kubros and infested Kavats. And then there are 3 different ones of those. So you've got the Crescent Vulpaphyla, you've got the Panzer Vulpaphyla, best of them, by the way, and the Sly Vulpaphyla, which is like the one that gives you like extra dodge chance and shit like that. And then the Predicites are just kind of these big tanky ass fucking attack dogs. That's just really what they are. They have a couple of different functions, but that's pretty much what they are. So you have the Medjay, you have the Pharaoh, and you have the Vizier, and they're all just a little bit different from each other. The Panzer is a pure attack cat. It is one of the best fucking companions if you're going to run a companion next to either the Vaska. I mean, like, the Kavats are an interesting one because the Smita is obviously like one of the best companions to have because it's a farming companion. And if it triggers at the right time, it's a good time. The Vaska Kavat is really good because, like, if you get killed a lot because you're testing builds, the Vaska is good to take with you because it'll sacrifice its own fucking existence in order to keep you alive. Basically gives you a free revive. And then the Adarza is the crit cat. So it's the one that just boosts the shit out of your critical from, at times. So just all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of boosted, critical chance. It's a good time. And then you've got, not much has changed here, some has. Okay, the Archwings are the Archwings. There's 5 of them total. The Amisha is honestly the best, unless you're doing Eidolon hunting and then you want to use the Itzal. Aside from that, the Eliotron is just like the tank. The Odonata is just the original, and then the Odonata Prime is a slightly fancier version of the original. With Fortuna came K-Drives. This is the infested K-Drive, and then these others are you can mod them differently. That's it. So if you really want to go through and you love doing K-Drive stuff, that's a good time. Where the big change in interest goes is you see Void Rig, you see Bone Widow, and you see Plexus. The Plexus is the modding bench, or the modding kit for your Railjack. And yes, that ranks up. The Bone Widow and the Void Rig are Necromechs. These are basically the big, clunky, Heart of Deimos Necromechs that you can farm through the Isolation Vaults. And they go to rank 40, so that is 8,000 standing. A good time. It's 5 for me, but it's a good time. Void Rig is the one you want. I can tell you that right now. The Bone Widow does have some fun life-stealing functions, but is much more limited to where the Void Rig is quite literally a fucking tank with shields. So, yeah, it's a good time. And then you're up to 19 arc guns, and you're still sitting at the oh-so-lowly 8 arc melees because they all pretty much suck. And then, like I said, you have 9 amps. But which ones are the good ones, right? That's the looming question. Which one are the good ones? This is such a loaded question. We can go to weapons of yesteryear, okay? The Argonaut. Definitely one from yesteryear. The base Archoplasmor, something from yesteryear. The old Baza, funny enough. So the old Baza. It was the silent machine gun, so it was the sleuthy machine gun. Good time. The old status-based Bratton, or even the Bratton Prime, because it's been around for a while. There's still some fun stuff you can do, but like the Buzzlock, for example. Let's see here. The Exorgist. Don't worry, I'll get to if they're still good or not. The Hema. Oh my god, the Hema. The Ignis Wraith. The Comb. The Comarex. All these Kuva weapons. Let's see here. The original Lens. The Mutilus Quanta, that's an interesting one. The Mutilus Cernos, another interesting one. The Opticore. Let's see here. The Quartak, that's the Ghoul weapon. The Ghoul Purge weapon. The original Soma or the Soma Prime, either one. But we'll stay with the original Soma. The Stradivar, that was an interesting one from yesteryear. Let's see here. The Tigress. The Tigress and the Tigress Prime. Oh my god. If you want to talk about one of the most OP weapons of yesteryear, the Tigress was definitely it. Funny enough, the Cerberus was another one. How did I just skim? Yeah, the fucking Cerberus and the Cerberus Prime. Those were very, very powerful weapons. Cerberus, extremely accurate, duplex trigger style weapon. Well, burst, I think it was 3-round burst, and then the Tigress is the duplex trigger. And then you had weapons like, what am I thinking here? It was a sniper rifle. I forgot you can't just search. Well, I say sniper rifle. I already know. I just have to find it because I'm stupid. The Snipetron, and then the Snipetron Vandal. Guess what? Those are all nowhere near as good as they used to be. The Tigress is still really powerful, but it's such a close range weapon. It's so rough. Now, I'm going to go by used here really quick, okay? Now, take into account this was a weapon that I used for a long time during the base star chart. But my general used weapons are very, very funny. Okay, so if you take out the Fulman, the base Archoplasmor, Kuva Brahma, Amprex, and the Proboscis Cernos. That's a much more accurate representation. The Trumna is unbelievably good. The Bubonico is very good. The Torrid Incarnate Genesis is probably the most powerful primary in the fucking game right now. The Strun Prime is very good. The Felarx is unbelievably powerful. The Tented Archoplasmor just deletes people. The Bratton Prime Incarnate is very good. The Cedo is a great primer weapon. The Burston Prime goes burr with a whole lot of bullets. The Rubico is Eidolon hunting. The Boar Prime is like a triple beam version, shorter beam length version of the Torrid. Not quite as powerful, but still very good. The Exorgist is actually still really good, especially if you have a Riven. Tenet Flux Rifle is a single target heist / machine gun now. Voltorb Prime turns into a shotgun of death. Tenet Glaxion is it is basically exceptionally good on the basis of frames that have energy economy problems, plus it changed to a bunch of enemies. It helps. Soma Prime, also very good. Nataruk is a quest-based bow that you get that is unbelievably good. The Corinth is still actually surprisingly good as long as it's the Prime, and then the Shidu is actually pretty damn good. And then right behind it is the Phantasma Prime. That is a very accurate representation of weapons that I've used in the more recent time. Very, very good primaries. So we'll go back by name. Secondaries. I mean, let's just think about secondaries here. Oh, man. Like, what were some really good, old, powerful secondaries? The Akimbo Bronco. As crazy as that bullshit sounds. The Akimbo Bronco actually had some stink on them. The Akimbo Lotto was okay. The Akimbo Lex, powerful. The Akimbo Samadhi. The Akimbo Stiletto. Both were actually, they actually had their uses back in the day. The Akimbo Zani were like the A10 Warthog pistols, but those didn't even come out until Mirage hit. The base Angstrom was a boom gun, very horrible ammo economy, but boom gun. The Atomos, that was an interesting one. That was the premise of what became the Kuva Nucor and the Tenet Cycron, but it was actually pretty damn good for its time. Let's see here. What else? The Dual Toxicist was gimmicky as hell. But they did have some good priming function. I'll say that. Euphona Prime, way back in the day, the Euphona Prime was actually pretty damn solid. The Comac. Yeah, the Comac. Single version of the comb. Yeah. The Lotto Vandal, you can kind of get away from some damage attenuation issues with that thing. The Occucore had ammo economy problems like a motherfucker. The Pandera was surprisingly a good single-shot headshot weapon. What else? The fucking Piranha, which the Piranha is still good today. We'll get into that. You know, the Sonicore had some really funny applications, as did the Staticore. What else, man? What else? Primaries were so limited. You know, they really were. Those are probably the best of them. And if I'm missing any, let me know down below, man. Melees. Now, melees, there's been so many added, but there's just some in here that were just like, yep, that was pretty good. Whips. I can tell you right now, there is one in the top 16 that motherfucker used like crazy. The Atarax. This was one of the most detrimental whip weapons in the game because of how many slash procs you could apply to a motherfucker, and it got nerfed into fucking oblivion. It is useless. Sadly. Broken War was pretty good back in the day. Still is, by the way. The Serrata, funny enough, it's been around for a little while. It's a glaive. Pretty much anything glaives have stayed pretty good for quite a period of time. The Docker Prime, back in the day, yeah, Docker Prime, it existed. It was a thing. The Destreza at a time, the Destreza is an interesting weapon because it was very subjectively good. Excuse me, the Dual Iker, funny enough, used to be very good. Dual Karis. Dual Kamas actually had some function. Low damage, but very, very high slash. Excuse me, Dual Zoran. Fang Prime. Bragor Prime. What else, man? What else? Galvacord. Yeah, that was a big one. The Galatine, Glaive Prime, Glaive, Graham Prime, Guando Prime. Oh, man, the Hate. The Heliocore. Mm-hmm. What was it? Jack Kassar, I believe, was the whip one. The Karist Prime. Cronin and a Cronin Prime. Absolutely. Can't possibly say that that's not a thing. The Lecta, the electric whip. Pretty much anything that was a whip was actually not bad back in the day. I mean, you know, the plague weapons, Plague Kripath and Kiwar, both functional as hell. Oh man, the Ripkas, Redeemer Prime. And yeah, you're going to see a bunch in here, like the Secure Electa, you know, stuff like that. The Sylvan Aegis actually had some pretty good function. Stropha. The Skiajati. The Cyanoid Heliocore was wonky, but hammers used to have some pretty good function, y'all. The Wolf Sledge, back in the fucking day with the Wolf Sledge, holy crap. The Zenistar, you know, the original Volnus when Gara came out, yep, What's good now? Just, this is me, by the way, okay? Glaive Prime has a lot of use. Guando Prime, still really good. Serrata, still really good. Ceramic Dagger is closing up. Pupicist was a long time ago. Broken War is still pretty high. Twin Croaker is status-based, but not bad. Zorus, very good. Paracesis, best of the heavy blades, my opinion. Skia is still pretty good. Tenet Agendus is surprisingly pretty good. Reaper Prime still pretty good. I stick with so many glaives that this is kind of overloaded to just a couple of glaives and then like the ceramic dagger. But like truthfully, my top weapons are the Glaive Prime, Serrata Prime. Or I'm sorry, Serrata Prime. Yeah, okay. The Glaive Prime, the Serrata, the ceramic dagger, Broken War, Zorus, Paracesis, Skiajati, Reaper Prime, Prisma Oma, Sun and Moon, Nakana Prime, Hate, Cronin Prime, and the Dual Iker. Those are my top ones now. They really are. And the ceramic dagger is an Incarnate Genesis weapon. The Dual Iker, Incarnate Genesis weapon. Nami Solo, Incarnate Genesis weapon. That's another one that I use. I'm sorry. But most of these, it really depends on your playstyle. Melee is very, very, very much dependent on your playstyle and the type of damage that you're trying to output. Now, I can tell you this. When it comes to... Well, you know what? We'll save robotics and companions for another point. Because I really want to get into kind of what's your real good options. That should be a shorter video. But when it comes down to it, let's just go by used here, okay? So used... from a frame perspective, and this is loaded as hell because, you know, obviously new frames come out, so stuff changes. But like Dante just released, you know, Dante released like 10 months ago, you know, 9 months ago, something like that. Dante's already climbing. Lavos I use as a utility frame, Nezha survivability frame, Wukong was ages ago, or Wukong Prime, Wisp. I mean, like, as you see, Wisp Prime is climbing. I use Titania quite a bit, Revenant quite a bit, Loki quite a bit. I used to use the hell out of this Protea. Where is my Protea Prime? There she is right there. She's been climbing up slowly. Volt is my Eidolon Hunter. I mean, Hydra. All these frames that you see in like the top 4 rows are either climbing or shit that I use on a fairly regular basis. But I can tell you, it is Lavos, Nezha, Kalervo, Titania, Revenant, Loki, Octavia, Wiz Prime, Inaros Prime, Mirage Prime, Mesa Prime, Dante, Hydroid, and Mag. And Aurelia is climbing up very quickly. Korra I use quite a bit. Citrine I use quite a bit. Protea I've been using quite a bit. Hildren I use for hijacks only, basically. You know, and like Sevagoth Prime, I guarantee he's going to be up in this list pretty fucking soon. I've been using the shit out of him. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where is he? There he is, right there. Sevagoth Prime, right there. Already surpassed the guy. Daggett. But yeah, I mean, like, just the weapons alone. I can tell you that just depending on what you're trying to do, if you want the best sniper rifle, Rubico Prime. Rubico Prime or the Lanka. I think that's what it was. I used. Let's go by name. I think it's the Lanka, isn't it? Let me look. Let me look. I don't want to give bad info here. It's the Lanka, isn't it? Lanka, yep, Lanka. So the Rubico Prime and the Lanka, those are probably your best bets. If you're wanting a good shotgun, Bubonico, Tenet Archiplasmor, I mean, hell, yeah, Bubonico, Tenet Archiplasmor, Strun Prime, Fel Arcs, Cedo, Boar Prime, Exorgus, Corinth Prime, Phantasma, Kuva Hack. Those are probably your best. And the Comb, Kuva Comb. I mean, hell, even the Kuva Sobek, truth be told, even though it's lower on the list right now, just because it, you know, one of the newer ones. Those are all like your really, really, really good ones. Rifles. No question. The Trumna, the Torrid, the Incarnon Genesis Bratton, the Incarnon Genesis Burston, Tenet Glaxian, Incarnon Genesis Soma Prime. Don't let anybody bullshit you. The Exceltra and the Exceltra Prime are perfectly fine. You just absolutely must run mutation mods, and you need to try to kill enemies at a distance so you get the explosion out of it. The Fullman Prime is actually not bad. It's pretty damn good. The Gotfa and the AX-52 are both very good. The Incarnon Genesis Latron, exceptionally good. Incarnon Genesis Miter, exceptionally good. Funny enough, if you can get a Riven, the Basmu is pretty funny because it's battery operated. The Kuva Core Attack's really good. There's a lot of good rifles, okay? I mean, there's a lot of good rifles. Oh, my God. As far as AoE weapons. There was something in my eye. As far as the AoE weapons, you do you when it comes to that, okay? I'm sorry, the Kuva Chakra is another one. Another good rifle. As far as AoE weapons go, you do you, because most of them have had the living shit nerfed out of them. Probably one of the best AoEs is probably the Tenet Envoy. It does have the funky quirk of if you're ADS on that damn thing, you are actually changing the trajectory and guiding its little grenade rocket thing. But if you just hip fire that damn thing, you'll just blast the shit out of enemies. And it didn't get the shit nerfed out of it with the ammo nerf of 2021. Excuse me. God almighty, the yawns are real. You know, secondaries. Oddly enough, this is gonna look nutty as shit. Okay? And I'll tell you the accuracy of this. Tenet Cycron, very good. Battery operated chaining weapon, chains up to 3 weapons, and it is very, very good. Incarnon Latum, or just the Latum, Incarnon Genesis Furus, the Epitaph or Epitaph Prime, both very good. A Rivened, I am going to specifically say that a Rivened Prisma Angstrom is extremely good. Incarnon, as far as the Incarnon Genesis Dual Toxicist is probably the Furus and the Dual Toxicist and the Latum are the best of the fucking Incarnon weapons. The Ocucore with its, I think it's Sentient Surge, with the Sentient Surge augment is very good. The Incarnon Genesis Atomos is very good. Piranha is still very good, even though it does have some ammo economy issues. It's still very, 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 very good. Tenet Detron's very good. Tenet Planks, some people shit on it. It's actually still a very high crit weapon, very good. Compressa is very good. The Grimoire is, funny enough, a really good utility weapon. The Catabolist is a status fucking hose of hell. Epitaph Prime, like I said, the Onos is fucking powerful. Very, very, very powerful Incarnon weapon. I mean, obviously, stuff like, you know, kit guns, that's just going to be as you build them, and if you have ribbons for them, so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, like, there's some pretty interesting fucking weapons in here. And as far as the melees, like I said, I already covered those. So that'll be it for this video. We're going to cover companions and robotics next, because there is some interesting applications that come with this shit. So folks, I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, we'll catch you in the next one, all right?